You know that feeling. When you're just sort of going through the motions.
Uh,
Day-to-day stuff, it's fine, looks okay from the outside,
mm,
right? But inside, you feel, I don't know, adrift.
Yeah, like stuck.
Exactly, like trying to walk through really thick mud. And, everyone else seems to be cruising along on solid ground.
That stuck feeling, even when things seem normal. Yeah, our source conversation really got into that. And if that sounds like you right now, well, this deep dive is definitely for you.
Right.
We're not here to lecture, promise. It's more like we're exploring it together, like a chat between friends who've maybe been there too.
Totally. Our mission here is to really unpack that whole feeling lost thing. We're looking at insights from this really interesting discussion we found, trying to get why it happens and maybe how to navigate it. And this one idea from the conversation really stuck with me. What if feeling lost isn't like the end of the road? What if it's actually a turning point?
That's a powerful thought, isn't it? Because feeling lost, it often isn't this huge, obvious crisis. Like the source said, life can seem, fine externally.
Right, keeping up appearances.
Exactly. You're doing the routines, the social stuff, maybe managing a smile. But underneath, there's this disconnect, like you're on autopilot.
Oh, I remember this so vividly. A few years back, I was just sitting in my car, about to go into work, a job that was, fine.
The fine job.
Yeah, good benefits, okay, colleagues, all that.
Mm-hmm.
But that morning, I just kind of stared at the steering wheel, and this thought just hit me like a wave.
Yeah.
Hey, this is it for the next 10 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, it wasn't slow. It was just, bam, realization. I am way off course.
That jolt, it can be so key. For me, it felt more like being in a maze,
A maze. Okay.
Yeah, like every turn looked okay, but nothing felt quite right. So you're constantly asking, is this the way? Is this really my path? Or did I just sort of end up here?
And you feel like everyone else got the map.
Totally. Like they have it all figured out and you're just wandering. It's isolating.
That stuck feeling is just so uncomfortable. But what's interesting, and the source really highlighted this, is that discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
It can actually be a powerful wake-up call.
Yeah, a catalyst.
Right. It's the moment you finally have to ask, hang on, what am I actually doing and why? And just admitting you feel lost, that could be the first little spark of clarity, the start of something new, maybe.
And often the reason we end up feeling lost, it's not always bad choices, is it? Sometimes it's more about listening too much to everyone else.
Oh, definitely.
All those external voices, parents, teachers, friends, the internet, everyone telling you how you should live.
The shoulds, they're everywhere. And over time, it's like your own inner voice just gets quieter and quieter.
Executed, yeah.
You start making choices based on what other people expect, maybe without even noticing. It's like you have this inner compass, right?
Yeah.
Your gut feeling.
Your intuition.
Yeah. But if all those external things keep nudging it just a tiny bit over years, you can end up miles away from where you were meant to be.
That's a really good way to describe it. You might follow a path that looks impressive or safe to others, but it just doesn't feel right inside.
Right.
I remember choosing my major in college purely because it sounded, I don't know, prestigious, had zero real interest. Years later, yeah, I had the degree, but also felt pretty empty about it.
Been there. And our source talked about why we do that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe wanting approval or just being scared to let people down.
Exactly. Which is why it's so important to, check in with yourself regularly. Ask yourself honestly, am I doing this because I want to, because it feels right for me? Or is it just obligation, pressure?
Huge difference. But okay, say you start listening to that inner voice again. Often that leads straight into something else we hate.
Oh.
Uncertainty.
Oh, yeah. We love plans, right? We want the map, the control. So when the path ahead is blurry, it's easy to panic.
Totally. But what if?
Yeah.
What if uncertainty isn't the enemy? The source actually suggested it could be a kind of gift.
A gift? How so?
Well, it creates space, right? Space to think, to explore, to actually figure out what really matters to you again. When there's no set path, you kind of have to look around.
Okay, I like that reframe. I remember when I left a job once. No plan B, just this strong gut feeling I was going the wrong way.
Brave and scary.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure people thought I was nuts, and honestly, I doubted myself plenty. But those months afterwards, they were tough, yeah, but also really fertile ground for growth.
What'd you do?
Had time to read things I never had time for, to actually rest, to just walk and think. And slowly, bit by bit, a new direction started to, emerge. It wasn't forced.
Makes sense. When the old structure disappears, you're more open?
Exactly. Your curiosity kicks in, you try new things maybe, you listen more to yourself, to what's around you. It can feel shaky, for sure,
Yeah.
but it's often in that shaky space that new ideas pop up. So if you're in that uncertainty zone right now, just know it's okay. It's potentially really valuable. You don't need all the answers immediately.
Right. Just stay open. Trust the process, even if it's unclear.
Yeah. Stay open, stay curious. The source also mentioned that fighting uncertainty just makes the anxiety worse. Accepting it can actually feel freeing.
Okay, so you're breathing through the uncertainty. You're trying to be open. What's next? The source really stressed looking inward.
Mm-hmm.
Not at the to-do list, not at what everyone else expects, but your core stuff,
Mm.
your values.
Yes, this is crucial. Personal values. And it doesn't have to be super complicated. It's about figuring out what truly guides you, what makes you feel like you.
Like what really matters.
Exactly. Ask yourself, what are, say, 3 or 4 things that are non-negotiable for you? Maybe it's family connection, or freedom,
Hmm.
or learning new things, kindness, health.
Okay.
When we feel lost, it's often a sign that we've somehow drifted away from those core things, maybe without even realizing it.
That makes so much sense. I had this phase where I was obsessed with productivity.
Hmm.
Just checking boxes, achieving things.
External stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I completely stopped doing things that actually fed my soul, like writing just for fun or really connecting with friends. I realized I'd put getting things done above what actually mattered to me. Felt hollow.
And reconnecting with those values consciously, it acts like an anchor, doesn't it? Even when things feel uncertain.
Yeah, like you might not know the destination, but you know which direction feels right. Your internal true north, like you said.
Exactly. So once you have a clearer sense of what matters, the next step, according to our source, is small actions, tiny steps.
Yes, this is huge. Big changes rarely happen overnight.
Right. It can feel overwhelming.
Totally
Nah.
paralyzing. That's when I started with tiny goals.
Yeah.
I mean, ridiculously small, like write one sentence a day or walk outside for 10 minutes. That's it. Set the bar super low.
I've done that too. There were days when the goal was literally get out of bed, drink 1 glass of water.
Seriously.
Seriously.
That's-
Seems tiny, right? But doing just that, it gave me a little win, a tiny bit of momentum. And those small wins, day after day, they build up. They build confidence.
It's like drops of water carving stone, that analogy the source used.
Mm-hmm. Powerful. We think we need these massive leaps, but it's the consistent small steps that really move us, like learning an instrument you practice a little each day.
Yeah. Or like the source mentioned, learning one new word in another language daily. Seems small, but over time.
Big difference. So if you're feeling stuck, don't feel like you have to launch some giant life overhaul tomorrow. Just find one tiny doable step today that feels aligned with your values. Start there.
Okay, good advice.
Yeah.
But let's be real, even with tiny steps and knowing your values, some days are still just hard. The lost feeling comes back.
Oh, absolutely. It's not a linear process. And that's why having support around you is so incredibly important.
Couldn't agree more. I remember during one really confusing time, I finally talked to a good friend about it. Felt super vulnerable, admitting I was lost.
Yeah, that takes courage.
But he didn't jump in with advice or try to fix it. He just listened,
Yeah.
really listened. And just
Yeah.
being heard, being understood like that made such a difference.
Sometimes that's all you need, isn't it? Just someone to validate your feelings, say, yeah, that sounds really tough, without trying to minimize it.
Exactly. And that support, it can come from friends, family, maybe a mentor, even online groups sometimes.
Right. And reaching out isn't weakness. The source made that point really clearly. It's actually strength. It shows you're aware and you're taking action to navigate things. Plus, sharing your journey can kind of keep you accountable, motivate you.
True. And those small wins we mentioned earlier, tiny goals achieved,
Yeah.
they totally deserve to be celebrated. Our source really pushed this idea. Acknowledge the effort. We're so quick to focus on mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm. We replay the failures.
But we often forget to notice the small moments of perseverance. Like when you kept going, even though it was hard.
That is so important. We tend to downplay the small wins, the brave choices, getting out of bed on a rough day, starting that thing you were scared to start, asking for help. Those are all wins.
There they are.
The source had this really neat idea, a lost and found journal.
Ooh, tell me more.
You basically jot down times you felt really lost on one side, and on the facing page, you write what you eventually learned or discovered because of that period.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Looking back over time, you start to see this pattern of growth, of resilience you might not have noticed otherwise.
It reframes being lost, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Not as wasted time, but as part of the journey.
Mm.
The detours teach you things.
Exactly. So maybe, take a moment today, think back to a time you felt really lost. What did you find there? Maybe some hidden strength, a new perspective.
Mm. Maybe patience,
Mm.
or a new friend, or
Hmm.
just courage you didn't know you had.
Precisely. It's all part of your story unfolding, even the messy, uncertain bits. And those discoveries, patience, connection, courage, those are victories worth recognizing.
Yeah,
So be kind to yourself through it. Give yourself a little credit, a quiet moment, a deep breath. And remember, just being on your way, even without the map totally clear, that's absolutely enough.
that really lands. It brings a kind of peace, doesn't it? A reminder I think we both needed too.
Mm.
And we really hope that you, listening in, found something useful in this chat today. Maybe a new thought or a different angle or just, feeling a little less alone if you're in that space.
Absolutely. Your progress, whatever it looks like, it counts. It really does.
So as you keep navigating your own path, all its twists and turns, we hope you keep exploring those moments of self-discovery. Keep building on whatever insights resonated from this deep dive. Keep going.